Making time for art as a single mom that is also working full-time has not been the easiest thing, and it was definitely the first thing to go when I started working. If you're new to this channel, I started this journey because of the separation that I had with my husband after moving in with my parents at 30 years old with my 2 young boys, and they are the light of my life, literally the best thing that has ever happened to me. Being a mom is the most joyous experience I think I'll ever have in my life, but it has definitely come, obviously, with some hurdles in the marriage and the relationship that I was in. I'm really proud of where I am right now and what I've been able to overcome in terms of circumstances and just all of the craziness that has really begun at the beginning of this year. And now with the year coming to a close and finding an amazing job that I'm so thankful for that I have been working at now for 2 months, it is time to finally get back into the creative spirit. There's no better time than the holidays to really embrace the things that you love and get back into creative routines, and I am such an advocate for creativity. I think it's so important. I think that all of us have some kind of creative spirit and some kind of creative knack. I've spoken about it on this channel before, whether that be a sport that you play, what you cook in the kitchen, things that you like to share with your friends and read about. The way that we live our lives, the way that we articulate things, the way that we think and see the world is unique and special to each individual, and that is part of the amazing thing that makes us human. Because of that, I just feel like we are all so creative, and it's always such a shame when I hear someone say that they just don't have those creative genes, because the reality is, if you're alive, living life on this earth, you indeed are a creator. You're creating your reality, you're creating the environment you live in when you go home, your environment when you go to work. Every single day, we are constantly creating. My creativity definitely does fall a lot into actual creation. I love to make things out of nothing. As you can see, I love to sketch. I love to fill sketchbooks, to draw anytime that I can. If it's with chalk, if it's with markers, if it's with my kids, or a moment to myself. If I can doodle in any way, I usually end up trying to take that opportunity to do so. In the reality of things, and part of my struggle with this channel and trying to just narrow myself into a hole, is that art in the form of just drawing and painting is not the only way that I create. And I think that many creatives often find themselves with this predicament in a sense. We can either view it as a predicament or we can use it to our benefit. And I'm really trying to just use it all to my benefit and not try to force myself into this box that I feel like I have mentally told myself that I have to fit into. That in order to grow a successful YouTube channel, to form a community of like-minded people, that I have to stick to one thing. And while I know that may work beautifully for many people, it's just not necessarily true for me. So with that being said, well, I am sketching in my sketchbook in this video, and it felt so good to just sit down and kind of immerse myself back into a sketchbook and back into art, and a way to kind of alleviate the pressure of a blank page and of a sketchbook in general. I went back to a page that I just had a rough sketch in, and I would highly recommend this to any creative or anybody who's kind of warming their feet back into something that they might have taken a couple months off from, is just to kind of start with the basics, dive into something the easiest way possible, that there will be no excuses, that it feels like less of a hurdle. So because I didn't have to fill a blank page, because I didn't have to actually look at something and physically draw it right then and there, I was mostly just tracing something I already drew. It made the whole process very seamless. I didn't waste any time. I sat down and I got to work. I got to tracing. I wasn't thinking too much of it, and I just grabbed this ink marker that I really, really enjoy using, just because it's kind of like a paintbrush as well. So it's kind of a little bit of both worlds, a little bit of sketch and ink, while also kind of warming me up again to the idea of paintbrushes. Well, I would say majority of my life, I am usually doing something in the art form of like doodling and drawing. It's funny how when you take a break from something like that for a little while, you just feel so rusty, or you feel a little bit self-conscious. And it's just like exercise or many other things. It's just a muscle that has to be used. But the beautiful thing about it is that once you are willing to just kind of let go and let yourself hop right back into it, that muscle memory is there. And so I was really just in the flow, zoning out and just enjoying the kind of messy lines and not judging the process, not thinking about anything, just really putting in the detail I felt like putting in and putting in the shade I felt like doing, while ultimately knowing that I wanted to go in with color. So I was just really flying by the seat of my pants with this one. So this was a great way for me to just kind of get back in touch with myself. Creativity in just creating something from nothing is such a way I have learned, especially after becoming a mom, that I connect with myself. When I am not creating, when I'm always in caretaker mode, when I'm always just consumed with something else or trying to fill my time with more mindless things because I've convinced myself that I need some type of a mental break, I notice that I just feel more depressed. I feel less like myself. I feel confused and just a little bit displaced. And it's always been really difficult for me to kind of point my finger on what drew that out of me. I always thought that maybe I just fell more into the depressive state. Maybe I was just more of like a downer person that would just constantly try to keep hyping myself up. But I think the reality is I just need projects. I need a creative outlet. And to circle back to what I started talking about was really that I don't just have to be doing art to feel fulfilled and to feel that I'm coming back to me. What I really need is just creation. I need to be doing a project. I need to be cooking something. I need to be rearranging furniture. There are so many times looking back on my life where I wasn't necessarily always creating art on paper, but I was creating art in my life. And I also think that many people can probably resonate with that. If I wasn't in a place in my life where I could totally renovate a home or create something from merchandising, then I would be cooking interesting meals and trying new things and making it some type of presentable dish that was exciting to share with the people in my life. And if that wasn't the case, then I was in fact rearranging furniture. I mean, that was something that I used to do all of the time when I was a stay-at-home mom, was just constantly reevaluate the flow of the house, especially because as kids grow, their needs change and the needs of the home change, and things just kind of have to get rerouted, especially the more toys you accumulate, the more stuff, if you are easily overwhelmed. It's just kind of this cycle of creative problem solving that I feel like really fuels me, and I just love it. I love seeing the potential of a space, of a home, of a project, and diving into it and executing. So hopping back into my YouTube channel and hopping back into my sketchbook and art and all of the things that really bring me back to me, it was really important to me to kind of address this idea that I can't just make art videos, especially because it's not fully conducive to my life right now. No longer being a stay-at-home mom, I am now a mom that works full-time, and yes, I do live with my parents and they watch my kids while I go to work. I still get to work very early. I'm working 40 hours a week, and I'm getting there so early so that I can be home by the time they're up from their nap so that I can have the second half of the day with them. First and foremost, my priority is my kids. It is being the best mom that I can be. I have them full time. They are the most important thing to me in my life. And even the job that I have, this pursuit of YouTube, of art, of a creative side hustle and outlet, while in ways it is for me, it is also very much for them. I do want them to be proud of me. I want them to be proud to call me their mom, but I also want to be the strongest example that they can have in their lives in terms of seeing what is possible. And I also don't want to take advantage of my parents. I am so thankful that they opened up their home to me and my boys, and I want to do as much as I can for them while I'm here. Well, I'm not sure what my plan will be, what my journey will be in terms of how long I'll stay with them, but I would love to use this creativity, this creative power that I have in me that has to come out. I want to use that for their home. I want to help out in any way possible. My mom is very much like me, where she just likes to get things done, but she also is into all of the home decor shows and has ideas. But she's a little bit older. They're helping with the boys. They have a lot going on too. My sister lives close. They help with her kids as well. So they're very involved in their grandchildren's life. And so in being generous, it's not always about money, and it's not always about just letting people know that you're thankful. I think there's so much that can be done in terms of just action. And I know that I have really realized, especially since being here, that my mom is definitely an acts of service type of woman. As you'll see in upcoming videos, there are a few projects that she's finally kind of letting me take the reins in, and I am so excited to be doing those, but also to be sharing those on my channel. So there will be a little shift in this channel of not just art videos, but just creative lifestyle, a creative lifestyle that I just want to share, where I love anything that can be creative. And yes, of course, there will still be artwork because I absolutely love creating art, but it will also be room transformations and decor and thrifting and DIY projects. Just all of the different things that I can share that I am doing in my parents' house for them and with my boys, as well as just any time that I can have to myself where I can also sit back and create art. Because I do have a lot of ideas for paintings and for sketches and things like that, but it's just not always that easy to execute. And I mean, nothing is that easy. It's not always super easy to execute a DIY project or decorating a room or anything, but those things I find very simple to do with my boys because they can run around and be all crazy, and I can still kind of make a mess while they're making their own mess, and we just kind of meet each other in the middle. There are also ways that they can help me with those types of projects. In terms of artwork or creating an art piece, it's just not so easy. They're not at an age where if I have all my brushes out and paint set, they'll just kind of let me be. They want to paint with me. They want to grab all my brushes. They try to get into the paint, and it becomes so stressful, especially because we're not living in our own home, and I just have a fear of them destroying my parents' house that I just kind of shut it down. There are always ways, and that's something that I also have to practice a little bit more. I am a firm believer too, especially as parents with kids, that the more that you have to push for something, the more that they will kind of adjust. So if I just tried to get my paints out more often, I think eventually that curiosity, or well, I'd hate to say curiosity because I want them to be curious, but I think that their intention in trying to take over would diminish, and they would just kind of be like, oh yeah, my mom's painting, she does that. And then eventually at some point they could do their own little crafts and art projects with me. Hendrix, who is 3, is a little bit closer to that age. He has a little workbook that he has worked in while I painted before, and that was really nice because we still got to kind of spend that side-by-side time together while I was able to get some painting done and he did his own little fun thing. But Owen, who is almost 2, is definitely not there yet, but that is okay because these ages are so fun and they fly by, and I don't want to miss a thing. So that is another thing to add to this conversation, is that because being a mom is the most important thing to me and of the highest priority and what I value the most, I'm just not at a place where I'm willing to sacrifice that. I know that time is fleeting, and even going from being a stay-at-home mom to then going to working full-time, was really difficult to just accept the loss in time with them during these stages. Well, it's gone really well, and I know that it's the right thing and was the thing that I had to do for them. And ultimately, I'm still thankful that I have them full time and can see them every single day, and I'm the one that gets to put them to bed and feed them and bathe them and do all of those amazing things. It's still a little bit of a loss, and while I've come to terms with that, it's just I'm not really willing to give up any more time with them. So there's enough busyness in the rest of the day too. It's, there's always cooking and cleaning and laundry and all the things that go into taking care of yourself and kids and a home when you are helping out. So I just am really trying to find creative ways to navigate this creative outlet with them and include them instead of trying to pull myself in another direction that pulls me from them. So that is why I also want to introduce all of the creative facets of my life and of me really into this channel, because I just don't want to pull myself away from the boys. This is the final product of the sketchbook that I did of these classic cars that I had sketched months and months ago. I love how they turned out. I love that I did one cool color and one warm color. I like the little doodle background. I'm just thrilled that I got to spend some time in my sketchbook. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see all of the creative outlets in my life, be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned, because there is a lot of goodness that will be coming.